Hey, it's Colleen.
Hi, it's Kate.
And it's Megan.
And we're the
Three Scheme Queens.
Join us each week as we take turns presenting a brand new conspiracy theory or mystery.
From shadowy cover-ups and unexplained events to viral rabbit holes, we bring the tea,
It's piping.
the facts, and the tinfoil crowns.
Join the conversation, laugh along with us, and question everything.
When it's all over, we'll tell you what we think, and we'll try to prove it to you.
So grab your drink, hit the follow, and tune in every Tuesday.
Is this thing on?
Hey guys, welcome back.
Howdy.
Hey, what's going on? I'll tell you what, it's a big week for my children to not go to school.
For like going on a week and a half.
Oh my God. I don't think they're going back this week either.
No, they're definitely not.
No. Well, number one, there's snow in the forecast. And number two, the whole reason why they can't get to school is because the sidewalks can't be cleared.
Are they virtually schooling at least?
Well, they brought back their iPads. So there's that.
But you know what you have to look forward to, Kate, is we are T-minus 1 week from the Super Bowl.
The superb owl, if you will.
Woo! Let's go, Pats.
That's annoying, Colleen.
Welcome to the red, white, and blue.
Colleen's such a fair weather fan. The past 2 years, she's been like, go birds.
Yeah, but I'm obsessed with Drake May.
Oh, because he's hot?
Oh, because I love his wife. I love his aesthetic.
Oh, his wife is like very like into the bargain shopping.
Yeah, Bake May miss.
Yeah. You know what else? All these like quarterbacks are marrying their like high school sweethearts.
Drake May and his wife have been together since elementary school.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, that's crazy. That's like some real growing up you're doing together.
When did you meet your husband?
Middle school. But it's different because we went to different high schools, different colleges.
Because we waited until we were 22 to get married.
Yeah. We said, I'm feeling 22. Everything's gonna be all right when we just say I do.
That was so cheesy.
Wow.
The other thing that's happening, less exciting maybe for Kate, and I cannot believe the blasphemy that came out of Colleen's mouth.
What?
But the other thing happening this week is the Winter Olympics.
Wait, it's this week?
Oh my gosh, I love the Winter Olympics. I'm sorry, what was the blasphemy that came out of Colleen's mouth?
Colleen said, I have probably in my life watched 2 Olympics and I can't remember a single opening ceremony.
No, I think
What?
I've literally only watched the Beijing opening.
But I am
ceremony.
surprised because I feel like this is the kind of thing that Colleen would get obsessed with.
Right, I agree.
I mean, I've seen Olympics clips. Like, I've watched the figure skaters. I know Shaun White snowboards. But I never stayed up late to watch the opening ceremonies.
Shaun White's like in his 40s now, isn't he? 40? I don't
He's
know.
also, like, enemy number 1 now, right?
Yeah. Well, he cheated on Nina.
Yeah, Nina Dobrev.
And I watched the gymnastics girls. That 5.
So it seems like I can see you. I was like, give it a week. I bet Colleen's like, I got to go home and watch curling or something.
Oh, I do like curling.
Yeah.
I love curling. It's my favorite.
You know what, though? I don't have cable TV.
It's on like NBC.
I don't even have
You're a
that.
Peacock?
They're
No.
on like NBC. It's on Peacock.
Okay, I got Peacock.
Yeah.
You use my Peacock. Yeah.
Oh, do I?
Megan, I have Peacock.
Well, then I also told her that I pay for Paramount. And then I was like, but I just realized I'm logged into your Paramount, but I am paying for Paramount. And then I was on my parents' HBO and I wasn't able to log in. And so Colleen said, here, I'll give you mine. And then today I was like, well, I am hijacking your HBO. And she was like, we're hijacking Kate's HBO.
Yeah.
Like, it started as a split.
I said, Colleen, just let me pay for the HBO because you take care of my children.
I was like,
I'll trade you babysitting for streaming services.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we talk, I am excited to talk about the Olympics. Before we get into it, though, is it time for our
Drink check.
Drink check.
What are you having over there, Kate?
I'm having some nice warm peppermint tea.
Good weather for that.
It is. It was a little too late for coffee for me, but I wanted something warm. And I was like, maybe I'll look in my tea because like tea is really hit or miss for me. But then I saw the peppermint and I was like, ooh. Megan made me the best cup of tea of my life. We came back from the Taylor Swift dance party, and I had a sore throat because I was screaming and I had lost my voice. And so I was like, Megan, I just want some tea. And she found some chamomile tea, loose leaf, and she brewed it in her little special glass teapot.
Oh,
And we were up till like 2 a.m. just drinking some tea.
Oh my gosh.
getting wild.
That just reminds me, like, I have loose leaf tea and I've been thinking to myself, I have no idea how to drink this. And then I remember I have a loose leaf mushroom mug from you.
Well, we're over here. Our drink check is provided by Mermaid Girl.
Provided by Mermaid Girl. Get your scales on.
Ah, what a girl. What a girl, that mermaid girl.
It is not cold weather friendly. We are just pretending like we're on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, and it's sparkly.
We're drinking a glitter sangria. So she got us this Woodstone Kitchen glitter sangria mix. Look at the sparkles there,
All my
girlfriend.
sparkles floated to the bottom.
Oh, I do. You know what? Megan did ask me. She said, if I make this, are you going to be like the microplastics? And I said, no, I will drink it and I'll be happy about it, Megan. And she just decided to do it when I wasn't there. So
There's plenty left over.
I said, yeah, there is more. I said, are you going to be anti-edible glitter? And she went, and then she said no. And then Colleen said, will my poop be glittery?
I
when I'm
hope
done?
so. I personally hope so.
But what do you think? Colleen's loving this. I offered her up either some white wine or some Prosecco, and she asked for Prosecco. So we
It's delicious.
yeah, Colleen's a bubbly girl.
Dr. Andrew and his wife gave me these frozen wine glasses for Christmas.
That's what I'm rocking with today.
So she's got an ice cold cup, but she was like, I don't know if it's icy enough for me, is what this girl just said.
Oh my gosh.
But speaking of ice, we're going to talk about some ice sports.
Oh my gosh, sports.
So this is sort of a Mod Podge episode today. We're going to talk about kind of a little bit of the history of the Olympics, kind of some fun stories from throughout the years. I have a couple little conspiracies to talk about.
Mhm.
And we're just gonna chat.
Are you going to talk about I, Tanya?
Well, I'm going to touch on it. That was
know that movie.
yeah.
I, Tanya?
Yes, Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. This is like a childhood memory.
I don't know the movie, but I know who Tanya Harding is.
No, but the movie
I Tanya
had
was a good movie,
Yeah, it had Sebastian Stan in it.
but also that was really in like the trials leading up to the Olympics. It wasn't in the actual Olympics, except her crying
Oh.
because her shoot getting to restart. That was an Olympic.
That's what I thought.
All right, so let me do a little introduction here, tell you a little about the history, okay?
Okay.
The Olympic Games originated in 776 BC in Greece. Back then, religious and athletic festivals were held every 4 years in Olympia at the sanctuary of Zeus. It took place almost exclusively in late August, early September, because the midpoint always took place during the second full moon after the summer solstice, which was after the annual harvest but before the picking of the olives. Colleen, this was all around olive harvesting.
I do love an olive.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The first 13 games included only a foot race, and it was such an honor to win that the next Olympic Games would be named for you.
Oh, wow. Well, I would never win a foot race, so.
I know.
Run? Ugh, forget about it.
Yeah.
The games were only open to, quote, legitimate sons of freeborn Greek parents.
Right.
But after Rome took over Greece, the games evolved to feature any man who spoke Greek and included events like foot races, wrestling, boxing, and chariot racing.
Oh, into it. Bring that back.
Still, participants trained for years, and the champions received a wreath made from the sacred olive tree in the precinct of Zeus. That's it. Nothing else except personal pride. But oftentimes, their hometowns or sponsors would provide them with some kind of financial assistance. So you did get something, but mostly the motivation was just like this olive tree wreath and everyone knew your name.
Like there's no financial win.
Yeah. The games were held every 4 years for nearly 1,200 years, shaping Greek culture and politics and reaching the height of success around the 5th or 6th centuries BC. The games were eventually banned sometime between 393 AD when the Roman Emperor Theodosius I banned pagan rituals, and 426 AD when his successor mandated the destruction of all Greek temples. The idea of the Olympics lay dormant until the 19th century when interest in classical Greece and international sport revived the concept. Several Olympic-style competitions appeared across Europe, but the true rebirth came through Pierre de Coubertin, who
Right.
believed the sport could promote peace, education, and international cooperation. So his efforts led to the creation of the International Olympic Committee in 1894 and the staging of the first modern Olympic Games in Athens in 1896.
Wow.
We're going to talk about kind of what a mess these games were, but they did establish the core structure of the Olympics, which was international participation, multiple sports, and recurring competition.
Okay. I love competition.
Was it summer or winter?
They were all summer at first.
Wow.
Throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, the Olympics grew into one of the world's largest global events, reflecting both athletic excellence and international tension. The Games expanded to include women, professional athletes, and a wide range of new sports, while also giving rise to the Winter Olympics and Paralympics. Since the first modern Olympics in 1896, the competition has gone from 241 male athletes from 14 countries to over 10,000 male and female athletes from over 200 countries. They've gone from 43 events in 9 sports to over 300 events from over 30 sports. And today we're discussing interesting Olympic lore, including some strange tales.
Whoa.
Then I wanted to start and just chat with you guys about what your favorite Olympic sport is. I guess we're talking all Olympics, but the Winter Olympics are coming.
Of the two, I find summer repetitive. Like, it's just another swim event.
It does get a little weird to me that I'm like,
All they're doing is swimming
if
back
you're,
and
but I just think you train your whole life to do like water polo and you have one chance to win it all, right? If you're a swimmer, you can be in like 87 different.
And I feel the same about the runners. Just another running event. I like the ones with a little bit of theater. Like, I love the people who do the swim dance. I love the gymnastics. Love the figure skating. And then I do like a race. Like, I like the speed skating.
Okay.
Because I think they look funny with their helmets. And the triathlon's always kind of cool.
What do you like, Kate?
I am over here baffled because swimming is some of the best events to watch.
It's so boring.
They're always so competitive. The United States is always setting records. Oh my gosh, they're some of the most I mean, I grew up swimming. Like I was a swimmer. So maybe that has something else to do with it, but it is so fun to watch the swimming. I love watching the diving.
Oh, I do like the dives.
The synchronized diving, amazing.
I do love that.
I do like watching the gymnastics. Mostly the female gymnastics. I don't really like watching the men's. I think the men's are boring. But female is top tier.
Well, what about for the Winter Olympics? What are you guys most excited to watch?
Hockey and figure skating.
My favorite Winter Olympic Games. I love watching curling. Tell me it's not the most funniest thing you've ever seen.
Well, they've changed the rules a little bit too. Have you been updated on that?
Well, but I don't know. I actually don't know. But the men yelling, the best part.
Also, it makes you feel like I think it is curling is one of my 2 favorites. While it is incredibly challenging and we would all just be wiping out doing it,
Yeah.
there's something about seeing like chubby old people
The Olympic heroes.
as the Olympic heroes.
Oh,
Like you don't have to be a swimmer, right? Who eats 8,000 calories a day and is 0% body fat. You can be like a 50-year-old man.
for the same reason, in the summer, I like the accurate shooting, like the riflery.
Well, that leads into my other favorite winter sport, which is the biathlon, which is when they combine speed skiing with shooting.
Oh, I don't think I knew that was even.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, it's my favorite. So they like race around and then they get there and then sometimes they have to like stand and shoot. They have to do so many from like standing, so many from like sitting. Oh, that's
I
my favorite.
I like an event that it incorporates multiple talents.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause it keeps my attention.
there's also a pentathlon,
Ooh.
which I was reading about that I have never watched before, but it's like they literally combined everything. It's like
Oh.
fencing, shooting, horseback riding, running, and
Yeah.
swimming, I think. You do all 5.
That's got to be summer.
Well, let me ask you this then, because to start off, I have a couple of stories to tell about some opening ceremonies. And I was asking these girls, well, I said, hey guys, think about your favorite opening ceremonies. And that's when Colleen told me I've never watched an opening ceremony.
I don't think I've ever. Well, it was always past my bedtime.
It's always at night now.
And
It used to
then
be, but it is now.
The past couple of probably the past decade, I've probably been a little bit preoccupied with life. like COVID.
The last
work.
decade, I've been preoccupied with life. That's why we watch the Olympics, to not.
And then, like, I think I've missed the opening ceremony. Well, the last decade, haven't had public TV, like public cable, so I didn't have access to
Well,
it.
we've got Kate's Peacock now, so
Yeah.
that won't be a problem this
But
year.
I remember watching the Beijing one because I remember seeing all the little kids do synchronized marching.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember
Because
fireworks.
the scandal there is that, remember they had the really cute little Chinese girl.
Or she was half the age she was supposed to be.
No,
Anyways, 10%.
she was singing and everyone was like, look at this adorable girl and what a vocalist. And then it turns out that they just picked like a cute girl to lip sync
Oh my
because
God.
the real vocalist was
old.
well, not as cute.
Oh, well, that's not surprising. China.
Kind of remember the English.
London, I remember. I
Yeah.
remember the Spice Girls. I remember it was very bizarre. There's a lot of weird stuff, but the Spice Girls were
I
united,
think
and that was cool.
everybody was wearing white.
Atlanta was 96, and the torch came through in my hometown. So that's probably my favorite, just because it was like the most personal. And the 96 gymnastic team, the female gymnastic team, Carrie Struggs.
Okay, I feel like we've definitely talked about this before. That the Dream Team, Kate and I are like,
Where I'm kind of anti.
yes, and Colleen, who was not born, doesn't remember it, is like, I can't believe they would make Carrie Strug go in there and do it again. And I'm like, this is why your generation is soft.
Also, this is why you're not an athlete.
She was a national hero. Also, how do you think she'd feel if now would be like, 30 years later, and she's like, I wonder what would have happened if I had just made that last turn, She doesn't have to wonder. She knows they won the gold. And come on, I feel like we all pretended, we all did the like pose with our foot up.
Yes. With our
Okay.
foot up. Oh my gosh. Dominique Moziano, like, oh my gosh, what a team.
Yes. Well, let's talk about some of the other opening ceremonies that may have stood out. In 1936, Berlin hosted. It was kind of very controversial.
Whoa.
Yeah, like during the Nazi
the war?
regime, as the Nazis were taking
Did
power.
America not go to that one?
No, I think it's a ceasefire.
Now, there were we're going to talk about how sometimes Olympics get a little bit political and there's people boycott for whatever reason. So I don't know. I don't think that one they did, but I think they did
did
like
the
Russia or whatever. Yeah. So the 1936 Summer Olympics took place in Berlin.
Yeah.
This was like the Nazis were coming to power. It was very weird. They said there was a lot of pro-Hitler.
I believe that.
But what did stand out is that they released thousands of pigeons into the air.
Pigeons.
There's a lot of bird stories at the Olympics. Okay. They released thousands of pigeons into the air and then they set off cannons.
To kill the pigeons?
Oh no, they killed them.
Well, it scared them. It was supposed to just be this big visual masterpiece, but the pigeons started shitting all over the place.
That is so funny.
All the people who had gathered to watch the opening ceremonies got
Shitted on.
good luck,
That's so funny.
No, that's so funny.
Colleen was just asking me about what the journey that the torch makes, right?
Yeah.
So since those 1936 Berlin Olympics, the torch has been lit in Athens and then it gets transported to the game. It's like trains, planes, and automobiles to get this torch where it needs to go. So in 1956, there were some college students and they were like, why are we continuing this tradition that like the Germans started, right? So they were opposed to this practice. So the mayor of Sydney stood in front of a crowd of 30,000 people that had gathered. And the plan was that a runner was supposed to bring him the torch. He was going to hold it. He was going to make a speech. He's going to pass it to another runner. They're going to go on their way, on their journey. Is this kind of like your childhood memory, Kate?
Yeah.
But a veterinary student named Barry Larkin passed off a wooden chair leg painted silver holding a paint can filled with burning kerosene-soaked underwear. And he just ran up and pretended like he was the runner with the torch. And he handed this fake torch to the mayor, who went up and started to speak and then kind of figured out what was going on.
That's so funny.
That's embarrassing.
So that was like a scandalous, not really opening ceremony, but
Yeah, he's holding up burning underwear.
Well, it's embarrassing for the mayor, but hilarious for the pranker.
yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Well, I think they were like Barry Larkin wasn't supposed to actually. He was like part of the group that had to like, let's do this, but he wasn't supposed to be the runner. But then there was a little too much fun being had, and people didn't have their head in the game, and the burning underwear was falling out, and so he just had to step up, lock in, take his beta blocker, lock in, do it.
He entered a flow state
Yeah.
and handed off the burning underwear.
That is so funny.
Another bird story in 1988 in Seoul. as a sign of peace and prosperity, they released all of these doves during the opening ceremony,
Yeah.
but they all flew to the Olympic cauldron and just perched there.
And then went up in flames.
And so then when the athletes,
Were they barbecued?
came to light the torch, the doves were roasted on live TV.
Oh my, that's so funny. They were probably good.
Well, needless to say, I think that's when they were like, maybe we should
Get rid of the birds.
take a break from the birds.
Yeah.
My God.
And then in 2014 in Sochi, there's like a bunch of Russian army dudes sang a rousing rendition of Daft Punk's Get Lucky.
Oh yeah.
And everyone was like, this is really fucking weird.
I didn't realize there was a Russian Olympics.
So I thought I would start here with just a couple of interesting game stories, if you will.
Ah.
And then, like I said, wrap up with a couple conspiracies. Let's start with the first modern Olympic Games, Athens, 1896. Pierre de Coubertin. Again, we said he wanted to revive the Olympics since he's really the one who's responsible for creating the IOC. And so there had been previous competitions and festivals with the name like Olympic, but this is considered the first like modern Olympic game because it's the first time that it was like an international competition. When they left the Olympic game, they already were planning in 4 years, we're going to meet and do this again. So the 1900 Olympics were already in the planning phases when the 1896 Olympics took place. And so that's why everyone's like, this was really the first time. It wasn't just someone being like, oh, we're having like a festival and we're going to like play some games and call it the Olympics. 14 countries participated, as I said, with 241 athletes competing in 43 events across 9 sports. The focus was on national identities, not religion, as the ancient games had been. And at this time, the games were all individual. There were no team sports. And I think what really I learned the shift was the Olympics was really used to all be like for amateurs. So, now we have like the NBA goes and plays, right?
Yeah.
These professional athletes are Olympians. But when it started, it was like they were all supposed to be amateurs, like doctors and farmers who liked to run or bike or whatever.
I like that better.
The Panathenaic Stadium, which was rebuilt for the games, held 60,000 people. So for the time, that was massive. They had built this huge stadium for the Olympics. King George I opened the games. As I mentioned, these games did not go off perfectly, but it established this multi-sport format that we now have with opening ceremonies, medals, and rankings. Yes.
Was America there?
Yes, I'm going to tell you about it. So initially, it established the medals and rankings, but initially we only had first and second place winners, and no one cared about third place. You know what? First loser. No one
The
cared.
bronze.
Yes. So first place got an olive branch wreath. Second place got a copper medal, and everyone else was SOL. There was no Olympic Village, so competitors had to figure out like how they were going to get there and where they were going to stay on their own. And there was no schedule. They said people would just be like, I think today we should run.
Oh wow.
And then they would just like do the run. So it was not as and it gives me it like makes me anxious.
Just imagine. I feel like that's so up Colleen's alley. Should we run today?
Yeah, I think the run should happen maybe today.
I'm like, we all gathered here and no one has an itinerary. Are you kidding me?
We're gathered here today. Yeah, the Virgo would just lose their mind.
And Kate would be like, where are the snacks?
Yeah.
Did you bring enough snacks?
No, like that would be my job. I would make sure, like, I'd be like, okay, I got the snacks for everybody. Like, I'll man the snack tables.
The Olympic Village was going crazy on TikTok on the last one because everybody was like hooking up.
Well, it's famous now for being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you know how many condoms they
Like-
get? It's a bunch of amped up young athletes.
I'd
yeah,
go crazy.
living in a confined space.
I would have so much fun.
Athletes in their prime. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot. Another sport I like to watch a lot at the Olympics is the rugby.
Oh yes.
God.
The
Who doesn't love- how could we
men's
forget?
rugby.
So again, the other thing that was different about these Olympics is that athletes would just like, now we have this whole process where they go through trials and they have to compete to even get to compete.
To
These
qualify
people
or
would
whatever.
be like, I'm a runner, but I also like to bike. And since I'm here, do you think I could just pop in on the bike race? And they'd be like, sure, go ahead.
That's crazy.
So people were just like joining these events on whims. There were really no rules or structure. It was all about fun. That was the first Olympics. So some of the things that kind of went wrong though
in the first one.
the swimming events were not done in a pool, but in the 55-degree Bay of Zaya.
Oh.
These open waters were cold with rough waves reaching 12 feet.
Oh my God.
And the swimmers would like go out in a boat. They'd have to jump off a boat, start their swim. And it ended up really just being like, if you can survive, like if you can finish without freezing or getting swept away, then like you're probably the winner.
That's crazy.
So it just wasn't even really about like how good a swimmer you are. It's like, do you have survival instincts?
That's crazy.
That reminds me of that. Did you guys probably didn't see, but like the CrossFit games in 2025,
No.
the guy that died in the CrossFit games because they were swimming in open water and he just drowned.
In the same Olympics, the 1500-meter swim, the winner was a 15-year-old Hungarian, Alfred Hajos, who had felt compelled to learn to swim 2 years prior after he watched his dad drown. And he said that he was so scared for his life, his will to live just completely overcame any desire to win. He's like, I forgot it was a race. I was just like, which goes back to the point of like, you just got to survive, and you're gonna get that wreath, you know.
Yeah, it's like Titanic, you know.
And then the marathon. There's a series of marathon issues over the first several Olympics. So the marathon was inspired by Phidippides, was a runner who famously ran from the town of Marathon to Athens, and then he like dropped dead, and that was about 25 miles. So they were like, let's take that heritage of ours and use it to create this sporting event, and we're going to call it a marathon. But the original marathons were closer to like 25 miles than, what is it now, 26 point something, right?
26.2.
So the first and second place runners from France and Australia dropped out 3/4 the way through, and Spiridon Lewis ended up winning it all. He was a Greek water carrier, and so it was kind of big. Like they were like, the marathon is the biggest event of the Olympics. It's our first ever Olympics, modern Olympics. This Greek water carrier won, and so it was really exciting. And I love his story because he talks about how like people are dropping out because it's so miserable. And he just like stopped and sat down and had a glass of wine partway through the race. And then he was like chatting with the people. And I'm like, I could get behind that. Run, cocktail, you know,
That kind of sport.
And then the third place winner actually turned out to have ridden in a carriage from part of the race. And so he had to be disqualified after the fact. And there was another athlete who had traveled nearly 1,000 miles from Italy to Athens on foot. But when he got there, they were like, you're not amateur, you're a professional athlete, so you can't do this.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
So there we go. Also watching the run sounds so miserable this time because it was like the run would end at the stadium. So all of the people, but we didn't have TVs or anything, right? So everyone's just sitting in the stadium and people would just run ahead and be like, Colleen's in the lead. And we'd be like, okay. Like no one can see anything. And you're just waiting for like the 2 minutes in which someone finally runs into the stadium.
That's what I think the Star Wars races are like when they're racing the cars and nobody has no idea where they are.
In Phantom Menace. She's talking about number 1.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When they're like all being little menaces to each other.
Then 4 years later, we had the 1900 Paris Olympics. Still a bit of a mess. This one was not so much like the Olympics we think of now, but it is again still considered like these are the modern Olympics, 1896, 1900. But it actually lasted from May to October, and it was part of the World's Fair. So there were nearly 1,000 athletes from 24 nations competing in 95 events. But people, some of the people who won didn't even realize they were like Olympians. They were like, I just thought I came to like play a game at the World's Fair.
Oh my gosh.
There was insufficient room for a throwing event. So the Hungarian discus throwing gold medalist was actually like throwing into the crowd. There were swimming events in the river Seine. I was saying it wrong. I found out at the last Olympics, which I feel like didn't like last year. That was the drama too. They're like, today it's not clean enough. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people were pooping in the river.
People were pooping in the river.
And that made me laugh.
Was it like in protest of something?
No,
it just has
because
sewage. I think it's just dirty water. So even back then, they're like, this is just like where all of our sewage flows.
Their poop actually does flow.
And then they're like, the Olympians now are going to swim in this body of water. So they were doing that in the 1900s. Fast forward to 2024, and they're doing it again.
That's so funny.
Also in the 1900 Paris Olympics, underwater swimming was a game. Competitors had to swim as far as they could underwater.
I'm not good at that.
In the River Seine, and they earned points for distance and time spent submerged. Each swimmer received a point for every second they stayed underwater and 2 points for every meter they covered. How long do you think the gold medalist stayed underwater?
10 minutes. The Guinness World Record is like 10 minutes.
They can't come up to hold water at all.
No, it's just like, how long can you stay underwater and hold your breath?
And what year was that?
1900.
3.5 minutes.
You guys, the gold medalist held his breath for 1 minute and 6 seconds, I think.
Weak.
Wow. Yeah,
So-
1 minute and 8 seconds.
I bet he could go longer, but he was waiting everybody
And he
else out.
swam 60 meters. Well, just like now, I'm like, you've got these people who like deep dive. Yeah, Kate Winslet just like held her breath for 7.5 minutes while filming some movie underwater. A minute is like my time. That's like what I could do.
I would go under with my eyes open and wait for everybody else to go up, and then would immediately go up.
Kate Winslet also survived the Titanic, so
Period.
Well, she's a problem too. I mean, not Kate Winslet. Just the character she played. Rose was a problem. Rose was the problem.
Oh, Rose. 0 survival skills, somehow survived.
Yeah, 1 of 6 to survive. Anyway, needless to say, this was not a fun game to watch. Someone just goes underwater and holds their breath. So they didn't do that again after 1900.
Yeah, that's dry.
No, I bet.
And then the marathon was a mess again. They had a poorly marked course that went straight through the streets of Paris. Many runners took wrong turns, and in some places, the course overlapped with the commutes of cars, animals, bikes, pedestrians, and runners. The race was run at 2:30 in the afternoon in the July heat that reached 102 degrees. And we had another one, the local favorite, ducked into a cafe, had a couple beers, and then he was like, you know what? I don't think I need to do this today.
Love that.
That's what I'd be doing.
Love that. That's so funny.
Okay.
See, we just take it too serious now.
It is. It's too serious now.
Bring back stopping for a beer.
Yeah. Some other kind of fun games that took place in 1900 that did not come back. There was hot air balloon demonstration.
Bring that back.
61 men and 3 women competed in 18 events. They were judged based on distance, duration, elevation. They also had kite flying.
Bring that back.
And they had, guys, live pigeon shooting.
Oh.
Live pigeons were...
Oh, and instead of clay pigeons?
Yes. Live pigeons.
Yeah, lots of birds being harmed.
Yes.
At the
I don't know how I
Olympics.
feel about that.
Yes. But, I mean, or are they just harming spies? You know what I mean? Maybe these are just
Yeah.
spies from other countries. So,
Yeah, exactly. Birds aren't real.
as a result of this live pigeon shooting, 300 birds were killed, leaving the field just like littered with feathers and carcasses.
My God.
The winner, Belgian Leon de Lunden, killed 21 pigeons.
What
And
was
then-
the goal? To just kill
Well,
as
it was
many
it
as
was
you
just
can?
like shooting. I mean,
It's just like clay shooting.
it's like what they usually do, but instead of using clay pigeons, they were like, let's use real pigeons. And then everyone was like, this is too much. So they never did that again.
Aw.
There's a story in there who said that Maine birds were writhing on the ground, blood and feathers were swirling in the air, and women with parasols were weeping in the chair set up nearby. So, from 1900 to 1920, we also had tug of war.
I love that.
Love that. Oh my God. Why'd they get rid of these?
That was kind of scandal. There was a lot of scandal with tug of war. It was 5 to 8 man teams. They were barefoot, and you just had 5 minutes to pull a team over or whoever get close to the line. And they said the Scandinavians and the Brits were really good at this.
And
And
the Brits. That's surprising.
but you could have multiple teams from the same country. And so in 1904, in the St. Louis Olympics, the U.S. took 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place.
I believe that.
1904 Olympics.
1904.
I said, honestly, how did the marathon remain a contest? So now we're on our 3rd consecutive marathon. Again, poorly planned. Again, we're running at 2:30 p.m. in 90-degree heat. Traffic wasn't stopped. There were automobiles driving alongside. Runners were having to wait at intersections. There was only one usable water station at mile marker 12. It's like Kate's worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
The winner was American Frederick Loers, except it turns out that he had dropped out at mile 9 and hitched a ride back to the stadium in a car. But then the car broke down like at mile 19. He's like, you know what? I'll just get out and finish. So he gets out. He wins. They're like, you won. Alice Roosevelt is like giving him an award. And he's like, just kidding. I cheated.
That's crazy.
Thomas Hicks, another American, won instead, but should he have? Because he had handlers who provided a lot of assistance, and when he wanted to give up, they actually drugged him with strychnine, a common rat poison that was used as a stimulant. So again, they're at mile 19. He's like, I'm out, team. And they're like, no, you're fine. Drink this. And then he won.
Did he die afterwards?
He did not. He's
what?
kind of the first of like the doping that we're going to talk about also. As we talk about our scandals.
We're going to talk the balls.
If we get to it, no, we're not going to talk the ball sack. I have nothing on the ball sack guy.
Lance? I would never think of him in the Olympics. I would only think of him as the Tour de France.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was.
I mean, he was in the Olympics, but I don't. Okay. From 1906 to 1908, they had pistol dueling,
Oh, that's kind of fun.
but it wasn't another live person. They just like dressed up a doll as a human and then shot at this doll. And then after 2 years, people were like, this is weird.
So, yeah, how do you even?
Oh, I thought it was like who could pull the pistol fast enough. Like in the Wild Wild West?
No, they had. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, wait. How did they do it then?
They put like they dressed up these stuffed thing as people, and they put like bullseyes on them. So you were just like hitting the bullseye, but it was just a little too graphic to be like the shape of a person,
human child.
feels fair. In 1912 in Stockholm, Sweden was they used to do like these indoor bike races in this velodrome, and they didn't build one. They were like, I think we should cancel cycling altogether. But then like the Brits were like, not cool. We want to compete. We want to cycle. So the Brits protested the cancellation, and Sweden was like, okay, we'll do this road race. But we have this road course that goes around this lake. We can use that, but it's like really not ideal. And they're like, it's fine. Let's do that. So this course featured over 2,200 meters of elevation gain on unpaved roads. It was open to civilian traffic. Again, they've not learned their lesson. Every single year, it's like they don't shut down the streets.
Yeah, they don't prepare.
And so it was really chaotic. They had 123 starters from 16 countries. 29 of them did not finish.
Whoa.
Riders departed at intervals of 2 to 3 minutes. The 10-hour race began at 2 a.m., so it's like pitch black. They had to ride nearly 200 miles, which was over 6 times the length of like previous Olympic races.
That is too long of a bike ride.
The winner was from South Africa, Rudolph Lewis. He won with a time of 10 hours, 42 minutes, and 39 seconds. That is such a long bike ride. But we had a Swede hit by a car, and he got dragged along the road. And then we had a Russian who was found unconscious in a ditch. So,
oh my God.
So Olympics were dangerous,
Yeah. Would just ruin their bodies.
In 1924 in Paris, there was a cross-country run. The last time they ever did a cross-country run. And it was 86 to 103 degree heat. And they were running near a power plant. So all of the runners were inhaling dangerous fumes. Only 15 out of 38 of the runners were able to finish the race. The rest were collapsing, disoriented, vomiting. They were like running in the wrong direction. And the Red Cross had to spend hours trying to locate all of the runners.
My God.
Oh my gosh.
You guys love swimming. Kate loves a swim, right?
What she says.
I do love swimming. That's what she says.
So this is the only time the person who won the gold finished with a slower time than the person who won the silver. So at this time, we didn't have these like electronic timers like we do have now. They were just coming out, but it wasn't standard. So the way that the winner was picked was based on these judges who were sitting there watching. And so you have a panel of judges who are like,
human error.
Yeah, looking for first place and second place. There was a close finish between Australian swimmer John Devitt and American Lance Larson. And so the 3-judge panel that was assigned to determine who came in first, two out of 3 of them said, "Oh yeah, we think the Australian Devitt came in first." But then they were like, "Okay, well now let's look at our 3 judges who were supposed to figure out who's coming in second." And 2 out of 3 of them voted Devitt in second. So 2 of the 3 first place judges said Devitt had gotten to the wall first. However, 2 of the 3 second place judges also said Devitt got to the wall second. So they went back to the hand timers, and the results were all over the place. They had 55, 55.1, 55.1 for Larson, and then all 3 timers said 55.2 for Devitt. Okay, 1972, we had the imposter marathoner. So a German student entered the stadium during the Munich Marathon. Again, I'm like, marathons? The marathon never goes well. So again, people are like just sitting waiting for whoever runs into the stadium. That's the winner, right?
Yeah.
This guy comes running in. Everyone starts cheering for him. And then it turns out it was like just this random German student who just like ran in and pretended to be winning.
That's so funny.
It's a
that
Colleen
away
move.
with this. Yeah.
Then American Frank Short, he comes in and he's like, it was such a weird vibe. I knew that no one had passed me. I was like well ahead of anyone else. And it's like silent and no one seems excited. Like it was a weird vibe. But he's like, I just finished. And then it turns out he was the true gold winner. But in 1980, there were a lot of whining from the springboard divers. The Alexander Portnov of the USSR complained that there was noise from the men's butterfly competition that was happening in another area, and it distracted him from his dive and caused him to belly flop, and he wanted a redo, which really gives my shoelace is untied. I need a redo, And they're like, okay, fine, you can redo it. But then he won, and the 4th place finisher, Falk Hoffman, was like, wait a minute. A photographer took my picture and the flash went off and it distracted me and it messed up my dive. So everyone's just like whining and complaining. They were like, nope. They deliberated. They're like, we're not going to like keep redoing this. We're done.
Yeah, get over it.
There were a whole bunch of protests. It was drama.
Had to be there.
Also, though, I'm just like, Why don't you just be like, I fucked up and I belly flopped?
Yeah.
That'd be so embarrassing. Also,
I can't
ow.
believe they were redoing things. Imagine belly flopping at the Olympics. That would be so embarrassing.
Oh, I'm going to talk about doping. But before I get into doping, we'll talk about how this is sort of like a less scandalous, but still doping, if you will. In 1984, at the LA Olympics, there had been this crackdown on like performance enhancers, but the Americans were like, maybe we can get around these rules. Okay. So for 72 years, the Americans have never won an Olympic cycling medal. All of a sudden, the Americans destroy
Oh, they're
the
dope.
cycling.
Yeah, they're dope.
They win 9 medals. But how do you think they doped?
Butt chugging.
How would that be helpful?
The anal method.
How would that be helpful?
I don't know. You asked me how they were doing it. I bet they were butt chugging.
Well, it's just not. The point is that it's not as scandalous as you think. At least a third of the team had received blood transfusions before the competition, and the
It wasn't even drugs.
no, I think
Oh.
they were just like improving their oxygen carrying capacity and whatever. So that was scandal. It's that's since become illegal, but that was like the LA scandal in '84. Everyone was like, how are the Americans such good cyclists? And then it's like, oh, we gave ourselves transfusions before we.
That's kind
came
of
out.
crazy.
So those are some of the weird stories. And then, we're kind of getting away from the conspiracy theories, but this was kind of a letdown for me because I think the Olympics are always so exciting and it's like a nice way to check out of what's happening in the world, even though it's all about the world. But it's actually very political when you think about it, and it's
Mhm.
very scandal riddled.
Yeah.
So the first conspiracy theory I wanted to talk about was just in general that the Olympics are really just it's really political and it's not just about which athlete is the best athlete. Kate, did you ever watch what is it like Stick It or something?
Oh, I love that show.
That gymnastics?
Movie. Yeah.
Is that a Disney Channel original?
Is that the one where they're like show their bra strap to win because they're so mad about the scoring?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
all got knocked a point for showing their bra strap.
Yeah, something. So that really encompasses what's happening in the Olympics is that like figure skating and gymnastics, particularly also boxing, the scores aren't just about performance. It's like people are making alliances, judges are like trading favors. And we know this because this has come out. There are instances in which people have been arrested, prosecuted for like trading scores.
Oh my gosh.
In 2002, we had, Skategate. We think of Skategate as
Tanya Harding?
yeah, as Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh,
There's another Skategate, though. In 2002, there was a pairs competition in Salt Lake City, and the Russian pair were awarded gold, even though they had, like, messed up, had a flawed routine. Second place went to Canada. The Canadians nailed it. So everyone was like,
Killed it.
this is weird. How did they come in second? They killed it. The first place winners were full of mistakes. So it turns out that a French judge admitted that she was pressured to vote for the Russians in exchange for the Russians voting for the French in the ice dancing event. So the point is that it was like it's not like which ice skater was the best. It was all just I'll vote for you here, you vote for me later. Like I'll pad your score, you pad mine.
Messy. That's so messy.
And it also happened 4 years prior in Japan when a Canadian judge secretly taped a conversation with another judge about picking winners before the competition. And everyone kind of blew him off. And so kind of blew this Canadian judge off. So they ended up doing this like secret taping instead. And it again said that like Falkov, who was a Ukrainian judge, said he would vote for the Canadians if Senf voted for the Ukrainian pair. So that's, I guess, just kind of sad to think that there is all this scandal. There's like a boxing one as well. Boxing almost got removed entirely because in I think was it 2016, it was like a boxing thing. There was a boxing match that was voted on. I didn't realize that. I thought you just like knock someone out and you're done.
I didn't realize. I don't even know how boxing. I was going to say, I don't even know how boxing is scored. Yeah, I thought it was just like KO.
Isn't there like a certain types of hits cost more or something?
And yeah, I don't know. I know that like when I was in high school, I took this class called Advanced PE.
Of course she did.
This was in high school?
I haven't taken
Well,
gym class since.
okay, so this was separate from college level billiards.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You did college level, but
She failed college level billiards because it was an 8 a.m. class with her crush.
You know this, Colleen.
no, I did. Maybe I didn't know what billiards was at the time. That's so funny. You failed it. I can't.
Yeah, because I didn't go. That's I just failed it because you were only allowed like one excused absence and I failed.
Did your parents make you pay for that credit?
No, now it's just a joke.
Captain Fred would have 100% been like,
Your pants.
you owe me a check.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, in advanced PE, the wrestling coach like taught it, and so he taught us like wrestling and like scoring of wrestling, and apparently like there's lots of different things that are scored on.
Well, wrestling and boxing are two different things, but yeah.
I know, but similar.
Did you get cauliflower ear?
Ugh.
No. And honestly, it was helpful because I did this in my senior year, and my boyfriend at the time was a wrestler.
Knew it was going to turn into like, help me with a guy.
And so I did understand a little bit more about wrestling, but I will say like wrestling is a huge ick.
Yeah, why do they have to wear those outfits?
And then like on the mat, it was icky to me. It was like it was the ickiest sport for me.
Well, if we go back to boxing, I guess there
Yes.
is a lot of voting and there has been a history of bribery.
I believe the bribery.
In 1988, the famous one I was referencing in Seoul was Roy Jones. So Roy Jones landed 86 punches and his competitor landed 32. But Jones lost a 3-2 decision. All three judges who voted against him were suspended, and the investigation found they were wined and dined by South Korean officials.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like a similar situation in Rio in 2016 where they picked a Russian over an Irish guy who was clearly the better boxer.
Love Irish.
I guess I need to learn more. Maybe for the Summer Olympics, I'm going to have to learn more about boxing, but I probably won't.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's something I care to know about.
And then I thought we could talk about the doping scandals.
Ooh. Yeah.
This really came to light, right? 2016, it was like the hot conversation.
Oh,
because that's when the Russians, because the deal is, we know people probably do, like athletes are probably doping, right? There's probably individuals out there. But as far as like, are these countries behind it? And in 2016, investigations revealed that Russia was behind this state-sponsored doping program, and they
like purposefully doping people.
Yep, and then helping them get away from it, or like get away with it. So they were like doing
my God.
fake urine samples, secret lab swaps. Again, this was like the government was really the one who was like helping the athletes to do this. But this is not the first time this has happened. Let's go back again historically. So from the 1960s to 1980s, East Germany had a secret steroid program.
What side was the East?
East Germany is the bad Germany.
Yeah, which side is the bad one?
East Germany, not the bad Germany. East Germany.
Gosh, I wish Drew was here.
I thought West Germany was free market. East Germany was the communist Germany. The communists would be doping.
East Germany was occupied by the Soviets.
Yeah, so communist Germany would be doping because, I mean, they want the money.
So State Plan 14-14.25, it was a covert government designed doping system, and they were giving anabolic steroids to their athletes who were mostly minors.
Ooh.
Without informed consent. So they didn't even know this was happening. They were like, take your vitamins, and the 15-year-old kids were doing it, and it was all coordinated by medical staff, coaches, and the government. And then after reunification of Germany, this all came out and was like publicized. And I think a lot of these kids grew up to have like, medical issues. And that's when they like discovered that, wait, they had been doped by their government.
Oh my God.
In 2011 to 2016, we talked about the Russian scandal. So at Sochi in 2014, samples were secretly swabbed through a hole in the lab wall. The head of Russia's anti-doping lab actually became a whistleblower, and this led to bans, strip medals, and remember, like the athletes couldn't compete as Russians, right? They had to like compete under a neutral.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember. I know what you're talking about.
In the 1990s, Chinese swimmers were shattering records, and then afterwards, they all had mass positive tests. And the reports are that this was like systemic administration. So again, not individuals cheating, but like China providing the resources to their athletes and then helping to cover it up.
Again, we're not surprised about China. We're never surprised about China.
I don't understand how easily they were covering up, because have you heard like maybe it's the new doping protocol. Like an athlete gets informed that they have to have a sample and they have to respond within like 90 minutes or something.
Well, it seems like what's making the scandal is not just these people who are doing it, but like how easy it is to get around it. So now they have
Now it's wicked strict.
they have like therapeutic use exemptions. So pretty much you just have to have a doctor who's like, this person does need to take steroids, right? Or like this person does need amphetamines. This person does need inhalers. Person does need, and then all of this stuff is like, well, it's physician prescribed. It is a therapeutic use exemption,
And then they could take away
and
more.
they can take them even though they're banned substances for everyone else. They can get away with it because it's medical reasons.
Yeah, because like, what if you have ADHD?
Yeah, but what if you don't? You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Um,
I'll never be an Olympian.
But you're not on meds.
I think I think the thing too is that these athletes apparently give samples and they just get stored for like years or decades, and so sometimes
Frozen pea.
sometimes these probably like it's like it's like in the military they took blood and they told us it was so that they could ever go back and see if we had malaria or something.
No, you're in a study.
But
How much blood did they take?
I feel
I have too many questions. Hold on.
I feel like
Let's go back to that. Yeah, Megan, you're part of a government study.
so I think that's also part of it is like people are like they can just come after you a decade later and be like, you know what, you didn't earn that gold medal because we found out you were on steroids. If we know about a handful of countries that have done this, then who's to say like how much do we not know about, right? Like we know about people who got caught and all these ones who don't, and again, since like the whole Olympic system kind of relies on like countries monitoring their athletes and self-reporting, but like if the country's the one behind the doping,
Yeah.
like reading this makes me sadder because it makes me again we picture like we can all get along for 2.5 weeks and we're just rooting for people and it's friendly competition, and then to find out that it's like, oh no, the Russians and the Chinese, like there's such a sense of like the Olympics are a metaphor for like our success as a country, right? We're trying to prove that like our way of life is the best way of life, and so we need to do whatever we can to get our athletes winning gold medals.
My question is like, do you make money winning?
You get like sponsorships.
Yeah, and I think some of these countries do get paid from there. Also, I think there's situations where maybe you go back and you get like murdered if you don't win,
China,
in some of these
Russia,
yeah.
all the communist countries. I'm not trying to say anything against communism, but here I am.
But like, why are they so stressed out about the Olympics?
I don't think Colleen just doesn't understand athletes.
It's like it's a world stage.
It is one of the largest stages to win, and it's one of the biggest honors as an athlete you could have to be like, I won a gold medal at the Olympics. Like that's a huge thing.
But like, why is their country forcing them to do drugs if like they don't make money off of it?
Because it's literally shame to their countries.
Just the bragging right?
Yeah, personal
Yes.
pride. Well, they talk
Well,
to
I
you.
don't think it's personal if your
No,
country.
national pride.
Yeah.
Haven't you heard of like the Chinese gymnastics, like the team members getting like literally beaten by their coaches if they don't win?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do they even get to watch the Olympics?
I'm sure North Korea doesn't get to watch the Olympics.
What are you Googling?
I'm trying to get their countries where they can't watch the Olympics.
And is every single country in the whole world represented?
Well, there's like 200, and I looked this up before. I think there's like 211 countries, and there's been over 200 competitors. So
But you have to qualify to even come.
yes,
So not every country will qualify.
yes, correct.
Oh.
The other thing though is just like the politics also behind, getting like putting in your bid and getting selected to host the Olympics is like a whole other conspiracy because they talk about like even now we're talking about LA, right? How they're like,
It's gonna ruin the city.
no, but they're like, we're gonna pack up all the homeless people and all the drug addicts on the
Ship 'em
street.
out.
We're gonna ship them out. We're gonna clean these streets.
And then
like
the Olympics happens, and then what?
exactly, well, it's all about like again how you're trying to like portray yourself to the world, and so that's like a whole other kind of conspiracy political scandal. In 2002, there was a scandal alleging bribery for Salt Lake City to win it.
No, I just love the Olympics.
Where is it this year?
Milano,
Is that Italy?
Northern Italy. The other thing I don't like is when they do these like this sport is going to take place up here. And then this,
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm like, I don't want to be there with like like, what if
Oh
you
yeah,
get
'cause they
there?
need the mountains for certain
Yeah,
sports.
What
yeah.
if you get there? You're like, I'm here. I am ready for the party that is Olympic Village. And they're like, you and your 4 competitors are going to be hundreds of miles away from all the
Well,
fun.
Is LA summer or winter?
Summer.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have winter in LA, Colleen.
Well, I think that was a valid question. Because I'm like, what are they going to do? Ship them up to Northern California where the
Oh, well,
mountains?
look at this. AI is telling me.
Mountains to ski in LA.
I'm sorry. The Summer Olympic Games will be held in LA with additional events in Oklahoma City. Case in point.
That's
you think
so
you think
stupid.
everyone is coming to the LA Olympics and then they're gonna be like, except you guys, go to Oklahoma City by yourself. That's not fun.
That's really stupid. Of all places, Oklahoma City. What sport's going to happen in Oklahoma?
Softball and canoeing.
They couldn't have done that anywhere else.
Also, like, there are lakes in California.
Right.
They couldn't have used the baseball field at the LA Dodgers. It just feels random to me. I'm sure there's a reason.
I'm just thinking there are so many lakes and I don't understand why they can't canoe in them. Well, if anybody wants to tune in for the Olympic opening ceremony, maybe Colleen, who claims to have never really seen one.
Yeah, because it's like you gotta be up at their time.
Next time she's gonna be like, I saw the highlights on TikTok, so I feel like I did it.
Even the LA one's gonna piss me off because they're 3 hours ahead.
Well, LA is gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be so
It's
LA.
gonna be so LA is gonna be so annoying. I already know it.
What was the last one? The last summer one? Was that England? No,
Rio.
I don't remember it at all. I didn't watch that one.
Hold on. That triggered me. I brought my laptop to work and set it up in the corner and just live streamed the Olympics all day.
Well, I just remember wanting to watch a bunch of stuff. Like I wanted to watch the women's rugby, but it was like be up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Rugby was not on like a good time.
So that's it. We're all excited. We're all gonna tune in on Friday for the opening ceremonies, right? February 6th. Guys, just a reminder, don't forget to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages at 3 Scheme Queens. That's the number 3 Scheme Queens, all one word. We're also on Reddit, same username. If you want to check out our website, go to 3schemequeens.com and you can find links to our social media accounts, our Buzzsprout page, all of our episodes, additional content, and our contact page where you can engage with us and share any updates on the topics that we have discussed. Let us know how we're doing and what you want to hear next. There are also opportunities to financially support us with links to buy us a cup of coffee and links to our merch store. As always, if you choose not to financially support us, we appreciate the follows, the downloads, the listens, the likes. Hey, Kate,
Hey,
what should the people do after this?
yeah, the people, they should take out their phone and text everyone they know that loves the Olympics, which should be everybody that they know. And then they should text them the direct links to this podcast. And those people should listen to this podcast because we are very interesting and fun. And then you should scroll down and leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a comment. Share us on your social media platforms. Interact with us on our social media platforms. And yeah, Megan, back to you. Back to you, Megan. I feel like I'm a reporter right now.
I like
Back
that
to you.
actually.
Do you have anything to add, Colleen?
Go sports.
Sports are my favorite episodes, I think.
All right, well, guys, enjoy, and we'll see you next Tuesday, and we'll be able to check in on the status of Team USA at that point, huh?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you next Thursday.
Next Tuesday. You said Thursday.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that when our show comes out? I'll see you guys
See you
next Tuesday.
Tuesday.